got a very good email today from someone who really understands the basics of Kabbalistic and ceremonial magic and wanted a more suitable conjuration for entities whose planetary spheres are relatively unknown, or for grimoires that he finds in strange places, I guess, with sigils and names that he's never heard before. And that does happen. And there's a lot of grimoires out there that are supposedly written long, long ago, who, you know, the spirits that they talk about are definitely not well known. And it's important to have a very strong conjuration to lock them into place and to exhibit and exercise the strength of your will. One, to keep them agreeable, and two, that they do as you request. The path of ceremonial magic is, for all its complexity, is a pretty straightforward one. If you are working on the true Kabbalistic magic and looking to attain to the Most High, the Prime Creator, and complete your great work, and to really baptize yourself and exercise your inner demons and become a man of wisdom and value, and to have your name written amongst the stars and your highest genius sit before the most powerful of entities, then it is only natural that you would require higher intelligences that could aid you in your work. And so from a Kabbalistic point of view, you summon spirits to aid you, and you command them as God would command them. It's interesting, though, you will find people who are attracted to the allure of ceremonial magic because of that. And when you watch them and you hear about the kind of things they do, you can really tell what kind of people they are, because when you get into a position of power, like when you are standing inside a circle, the real person comes out. So you will see if they are more on the Colopian path, where they are about self-service, power for power's sake, and greed, or they are more on the true tree of life path, where they are learning the value of self-sacrifice, and that they are becoming people of wisdom and value, honor, courage, and compassion. And you will either treat your spirits in a friendly fashion, or you will abuse them. And that is very telling, especially when you are standing as the godhead of a circle. This is Prospero showing affection to Ariel. This is one of my most beloved of plays. I saw this when I was very young, and it touched me. Wow. And I told my parents then I was going to learn to be Prospero, and I don't think they thought I was serious, but lo and behold. So Prospero's relationship with Ariel is a very touching one. And Prospero is a man who is sort of torn between revenge and power for power's sake, and at the end he truly does attain to adepthood. He gives away his staff of power, and he releases Ariel, who then can progress into a higher form of being. The secret, I'm going to let it out. Most magicians would never, true magicians who know this, don't like to say it, but I'm going to let it out because I think people need to know. When you release something from bondage, you're releasing you and it. So working with an elemental spirit helps it attain to a higher evolution. Whatever that evolution is, some say they become human spirits and then evolve that way. Maybe that's true. But I know that human spirits evolve, and I have been told that elemental spirits evolve. So working with an elemental spirit and then releasing it helps it evolve, and it evolves with the vibrations of those who worked with it in the past. So just to let you know, releasing yourself from bondage releasing another from bondage. It's all about freedom for all. And so when you are attaining your true path of adepthood, you are releasing yourself and all other things from bondage. Nothing else owes you anything, and you don't owe anything, if that makes sense. So I have a powerful conjuration that I'm not going to read it in the way that I would, and some of the names I'm actually going to leave out because I've read this conjuration so many times that I instantly fall into the feeling of the operator of the circle or the magician, and that's why conjurations are said over and over and over again, and they're just not made up as you go along, as in most other occult circles. They just kind of say whatever comes to them, and that's true. There's some power in that, but it's all emotional power. The power that comes from a written conjuration is the power of Hod, which is science and ritual. That's a planetary sphere of Mercury. Okay? Those are the vehicles, carefully chosen words that are the manner into which you conduct your intelligence and are powered by the emotional nature of the planetary sphere of Venus. So you have emotional power coupled with intellectual power. Those are words of power. So after they are said time and time and time again, they don't lose meaning, they gain meaning, if said correctly. I really enjoy the story of the Tempest because Prospero, the Tempest itself is a great name for Prospero's great work and his art. Because as you are standing in the circle, your conjuration should be like a far-off, distant storm. It should have the feeling of being threatening, but not close enough to actually harm. So the spirits that are being called to your circle know that you command immense power, but you are not putting them in any direct harm. But they can see the power you do have. They can feel it and hear it in your words. They can see your intelligence flash like lightning. They can feel the power of your words like thunder. Okay? They can feel your breath like the wind. You are calling them to you. And you are offering no other shelter from your storm but at the confines of wherever you place them. Outside your circle, inside another circle. These are all things we can talk about later. But when you conjure a spirit, it is absolutely vital that it knows that you are in control. Conjurations like the ones that I'm about to read make no mistake about who is in control. You are the god of the circle. You are attaining to your great work. You are learning from these spirits that you are questioning. You are putting these spirits to task. Their great powers are there to serve you. Now, are you going to be like Prospero, who puts Ariel to work, realizes that there is a more compassionate nature to things, and in the end attains to true adepthood, releasing himself and Ariel from their bonds? Or are you going to be more of a true Faustian individual who sells himself to a higher, what he would claim to be a higher yet darker spiritual entity that only comes and claims him later for a little bit of wisdom and knowledge? It's your choice. And Faust treated his spirits like slaves. That is not the case for true adepthood. That's how the Illuminati treat not only their spirits, but also humans. And many of the Illuminati, in fact, I shouldn't say many, all of the higher higher levels of the Illuminati have been completely overrun by powerful intelligences whom just use their bodies as a vehicle for moving around the physical world. And we've already been into that, and that's something that we all know by now. But with these kind of conjurations, I want to make it very clear that they're not just funny sounding names. It's not just words that you read like, you're in third period English and you hate the story of like the Scarlet Letter. You don't read them in a monotone voice. You read them with power. And in each of the conjurations, there are very important mysteries and aspects to working and living and attaining to the highest goals of Kabbalistic magic, that it could almost read like scripture in some ways. Much like the Wiccan story of Dia and Dis, the complete high arts and much of their true inner workings are revealed in the conjurations. The conjurations are basically the formulas of the Most High. And we all know what, so above, so below, and then so within, so without. So these conjurations are not only commanding the spirits, they're what the highest of the high placed everything and conjured everything around it with. So your spirit has also been conjured by, in some respects, by the Prime Creator with very similar conjurations. It's a very interesting study, one that most magicians, if they are true adepts, probably wouldn't talk about because they've kept their art very secret and they've made it very expensive for people to get involved. Others don't even know it, and sort of go through the motions, and it's not surprising to me when very little or no results whatsoever happen within their conjurations, and it's really more of a self-delusional make-believe that occurs. In the conjurations that we do, it is not uncommon for lights to suddenly go on and off. It's not uncommon for the fire on candles to rise 6-7 inches higher than they should. It's not uncommon for things to get knocked off bookshelves. It's not uncommon for TVs to go on and off, or dogs or cats to howl and squeal and run around in circles, because things have actually come through. We are marrying the entire process of the Kabbalah into our work and using it in a way that is the formula of divine man, divine woman, earth-based man, earth-based woman, and all things in between. That is high-level, Kabbalistic, that is also right at the very beginning levels. In Kabbalistic magic, you will learn that what you start with is usually what you finish with. What is simple is most profound, but there is huge degrees of overlaying complexity. And the study of the Tree of Life is quite a in-depth study, but it will change your life for the good, I promise you. So it is a long conjuration, and there was a lot of information I wanted to get out there in the true nature of Kabbalistic and ceremonial magic and the way that we practice it. I'm going to come back and read you the conjuration. It's very long, but it is very powerful, and it is something for those of you who are looking to get into the true practice of religious Kabbalistic magic without the God-forbidden, stupid, and damnable Illuminati and Crowley influences. It's something you should probably read at least on an every other day basis, and it'll become second nature. So with that, I'll be right back, and I'll bring you the entire conjuration. I won't read it like it should be read. And some names I'm actually going to leave out because I don't want things to start popping up. But I'm going to give you about 95% of it so you can get a taste of it, and I will post it to the blog so you can read the whole thing in full.